Hey everyone, I'm here to talk about the incredibly stupid, incredibly goofy movie, Splice. Where to begin? If you do not like spoilers, then go ahead and shut off this video because I'm going to be giving you the lowdown on this one. To start off with, it begins with two scientists, Sarah Polley and Adrian Brody, both of which are doing scientific research, creating what appears to be the maggot from, well, giving birth to the maggot from the fly that Gina Davis had that horrible nightmare about. But actually, it's, upon closer examination, it looks more like a mix between the a fleshy penis and a brain. So that's what science has moved us forward to. So this fleshy penis slash brain monster that they're creating in a lab is supposed to be mixed with another creature that's of the same type, and they're going to use this thing to make proteins that will cure various diseases. And they're made out of various animal parts spliced together. And so they go to talk to their manager, who's a lot like Lumber, a real jerk. And they go to talk to their super boss at their evil huge corporation that owns their corporation, which is an acronym for nerd. I don't get it, but I guess they thought it would be cute. So they go ahead and they tell them, well, we love what you've done with the science and everything, and it looks like we're in the right direction. We just want the protein, basically. We want to cure diseases. We don't really care what you want to do else. But the scientists really want to go ahead and mix human DNA in there, for whatever reason. So they decide to go ahead and do it anyway, despite Huge Co's apparent, not wanting to do it or fund it. So after trying a huge montage of them trying and failing, they get some human DNA that works, and they create what appears to be a big fleshy pod, the sort of thing that was stuck on Hellboy's arm in the first one, and it grows in this huge tank that's supposed to simulate a womb, and it grows far too large too quickly. The cells on it just grow at incredible speeds. So Sarah Polley has to stick her arm into this machine, and it has a stinger on it for whatever reason, and it just stings the ever-living piss out of her arm. So she's, she's down for the count. She's trapped in this machine while it's jabbing her, and Adrian Brody has to get in there with a scalpel and cut this thing off. So he goes in there, and like a real scientist, goes in there, cuts the thing open, and then takes the scalpel, puts it in his mouth while it's still covered in goo, and then reaches out and grabs it. She falls to the ground, foaming at the mouth like the damn Tasmanian devil. And, she's laying on the ground, and he goes to go and save her, injects her with some sort of magical serum, and then he basically saves her life, and they put the thing in a glass box and go, alright, what are we going to do with that? And they decide, yeah, we'll sleep on it. I have no idea. So they go and sleep on it. And while they're sleeping on it, Adrian Brody wakes up and goes, I'm going to kill this thing. So they get up and realize, holy crap, it's, they turn it over and realize, oh shoot, it's a hollow shell. And in the hollow shell was apparently a weird monkey human with a stinger, and I guess it's got part kangaroo in it because it's got, the backwardy legs, and it jumps like a mother, and it oh god, it was, yeah, it has no arms and it's really creepy looking. And, Adrian Brody immediately wants to gas it, and Sarah Polley looks at it and she immediately falls in love with the damn thing. And they know that they have to hide it from the rest of their scientific community, so they hold up there and they fall in love with the damn thing. Well, Sarah Polley does, and he's just kind of like thinks of it as a test subject, so he's kind of hesitant about it, a lot of things with it, especially because it has a lot of animal nature. So he keeps an eye on it, and especially because it has a stinger and things. Meanwhile, she starts dressing it up in, like little kids' clothing and starts teaching it to, write with Scrabble letters and how to associate with teddy bears and things like that. And it acts a lot like a child for the most part. Eventually, he finds out that it's got a lot of really violent tendencies when it's frustrated or, pushed beyond its boundaries. So, at one point, they have to move it because it's discovered by his brother, who's also a scientist at the Nerd Corporation, or Nerd Science area. So, they go and move it to like a basement part of the area, and she's suffering from a horrible fever, so they put her in an ice bath. And while they do that, Adrian Brody gets this awesome look on his face, like, I'm gonna end this thing. So he takes her and he dunks her into the water, just like drowning this horrible thing. And you could just tell that at that moment, all he wants to do is yell, "Die, you horrible abomination, die!" But he doesn't, he's able to stifle that at least. So he's sitting there drowning this horrible thing, and oh my god, the thing can breathe in water. It has amphibian lungs. And Sarah Polley gives him this look like, you knew about it. You knew, and you knew that would help her. Thank you so much. It's just mind-boggling how stupid she is, because he gives her this, Dren, they name her Dren, because it's nerd backwards, as if that isn't the cruelest thing you can name something, ever. So, but anyway, going back to how stupid that is of Sarah Polley to just give her, he's looking at her with just this ice-cold death look, and he's like, yeah, I totally knew that she would live through that. So I gotta go now, and he goes off and leaves. And he goes off, and they basically, Sarah Polley does more like I love you sort of thing, gives her a dolly and things like that. In time, they go and move her to a farmhouse. And this farmhouse is this horrible, like, leaking, and just it's a tetanus farm, basically. It's got a bunch of empty machinery, and it's leaking everywhere. But the first freaking thing that the Dren does is goes out and goes and kills a rabbit. So you know that this thing has bloodlust. But as if it wasn't annoying enough, this damn animal, Dren, goes off and makes chittering noises like a squirrel, and a mix between E.T. the entire movie. It's so annoying that you just want to freaking rip your ears off by the end of the movie. So, while you're listening to this sort of thing going on, in this horrible screechy noise, you're hearing it move around like the fawn in Pan's Labyrinth, and it's running around the farmhouse in an easily escapable environment, and it's they basically just kind of are trying to get their lives back together. They try to show off their penis brain creatures to the board of trustees at Conhuge Co., which doesn't go so well because since they've been spending so much time with Dren, they apparently never tested the gender of one of them, despite the fact that the entire group of scientists have been taking blood samples and testing his testosterone and estrogen constantly in this movie. And I do mean constantly. They talk about it all the time. But still, you hear about the fact that, like, oh God, we didn't know that they both are male. So because they're both male, while they're on stage at this Board of Trustees meeting, they rip each other in this horrible, bloody battle. These two flesh pods just rip each other a new one. And the board just are like, ha ha ha, that's awful. And I'm telling you, if that was the reaction that the directors were trying to go for, like, that's funny, then hey, good for you. But I think they were trying to go with a, that's horrible, you know, because it was a big, bloody-ass mess. And that's not what I think that they were trying to go for. But the audience was on there just laughing their asses off by the end of that. Anyway, so they're all, you know, failing horribly at work. So the Lumberg character is basically taking over, and at least the nerd building. And they go off, and they go to find Dren. Dren has found a cat in the farmhouse that she is, you know, immediately fallen in love with. But Sarah Polley is, no, she will have none of that. She thinks that it will make her sick. So she takes it away from her, and after a while she thinks about it and goes to give her back. Because Adrian Brody has come up to her, and just like a night of boredom has, you know, said, oh, I'm going to go visit Dren. I'm going to dance with her. He puts on a record and starts dancing with her, and realizes in that moment that they're dancing that Sarah Polley used her own DNA to use as the human catalyst in that experiment. So he's mad at her for being such a monster of ethics. Like, they're both not questionable on that one. So so she's already kind of wigging about that, and she goes, okay, fine, I'm going to give her cat back. So she brings the cat back to Dren, sets it down at her feet, and is like, here, you can have your cat back. And Dren just takes her stinger and stabs the cat, and then gives her this bitch best recognized look, and immediately tries to run away. Sarah Polley takes a shovel to the bitch and just crams it in the back of her skull. So Dren's on the table now. Sarah Polley cuts her dress off. It's almost like just a gratuitous, like, oh, we're trying to get a nude shot of this alien. You know, Species fans. So they get a nude shot. Sarah Polley cuts off the tail of this of Dren, and so, you know, she's all maimed and horrible, and, you know, she's completely scientific during the whole thing. She's completely made a 180 to her character. Adrian Brody walks in. His character has made a complete 180. He's gone from scientific to now, you know, like, oh, how could you do this to that poor girl? And, you know, he's all fallen into this whole victimhood of, oh, Dren. So now they part, and they eventually comes to visit Dren. And, oh, Dren has grown wings, by the way, at this time. She doesn't use them because they tell her that they love her. Somehow that keeps her down there. Anyway, so Dren obviously has a huge infatuation with Adrian Brody, and she kisses him. And Adrian Brody's at first like, no, I can't do this. And then he just kind of is like, oh, the hell with it. And he just totally jumps on her bones, man. Just completely. He's like, oh, to hell with it. And so he does her right there in the farmhouse. And Sarah Polley sees this and runs off. And so he chases after her, and they meet up in their old apartment, and their conversation is essentially, You just had sex with our thing. Yeah, well, you know, you're a horrible person too. Well, Well, that doesn't change anything. Well, yeah, so what? And then she changes the subject to how her day went at work, and they're fine with that. They never bring up the sex again. I mean, I know he probably welcomes the change of subject, but holy shit, he just had sex with a mutant. Stay on subject, girl. Your boyfriend just had sex with your mutant. Unbelievable. So, they go off and go to see Dren again, because I guess they want to open up some more drama, and find her in, like, a big tub of water, looking like she's dying. And so she's dying, and she dies. Or so it seems. And so they bury her in the back of the farmhouse. And, of course, evil Lumberg shows up with the brother scientist. And they go, well, we want to see this human thing, because we've heard about it. It sounds fascinating, and we know that we can get protein stuff out of it. And they're like, well, it's dead, so, tough. But no, it's not dead. It begins to rise from the grave. But this time, as a male Dren. Oh, yes. Because just as the weird tongue, penis-y brain things are able to change sex over time, so does Dren. So this time, it comes from the ground, this horrible male thing. And it's got the taste of blood, and it wants to kill the male characters. So it immediately goes after the Lumberg character, kills him in a flash. Goes after the brother scientist, kills him in a flash. It takes its sweet time with Adrian Brody, kind of knocks him into a river for a bit. And, Adrian Brody climbs out of the water and passes out. Sees Sarah Polley, looks at her and goes, I want to be inside you. Starts raping her. Thanks, movie! So, yeah, while it's raping her, Adrian Brody wakes up, stabs him through the stomach with a frickin', sharpened stick, which, does incredibly little to him, despite the fact that its insides are all out. He turns around, stabs him with his stinger, which has grown back, by the way. And then, so Adrian Brody's down for the count. Sarah Polley gets up just after being raped by the freaking Mothman, and then bashes his brains in with a freaking rock. So she's laying on the ground all bloodied up and broken, and everyone else is dead. So, you expect the movie to just kind of end there, but no, it ends with an epilogue in Kunhuchko. You see the big boardroom, and Sarah Polley's there, signing this, devil contract with the person saying, we think it's very lucrative that you are signing this contract to give us the new Dren items, the new proteins and everything that has to do with Dren. Of course, you'll never be able to talk about this with anyone. And, Sarah Polley gets up, and she's huge. She's just pregnant, which is incredibly disturbing because she's pregnant with what's basically her own DNA in a mutant form. So, I don't know what the hell that's going to look like, and you're just like, well, that's just disturbing. And she doesn't seem to be wigging out about this. She just knows she's going to be compensated by however millions of dollars it's going to be. And, it's just disturbing, and it's just a piece of crap. So, I expected it to be like this horror movie, and it wasn't. It was just like this goofy-ass romp. They could have just told you that, don't mess with science, or don't mess with nature. Whatever. It's, it's not that good. Frankly, there's better things out there. I've seen worse, but that doesn't tell you a whole hell of a lot either. If you're going to see something good that's out there, Shrek, Forever After, that's definitely worth seeing. And there's probably going to be some better things coming out soon. But that's my thoughts on Splice. I know it's kind of incoherent, but So is the movie. So, so yeah, my advice: save yourself the money, because it's a turd. But have a good day, you guys.